And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother in the land of Seir, the steppe of Edom. And he charged them, saying, Thus shall you say to my lord Esau, Thus says your servant Jacob, With Laban I have sojourned and tarried till now, and I have gotten oxen, and donkeys, and sheep, and male and female servants, and I send ahead to tell my lord to find favor in your eyes. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, We came to your brother, to Esau, and he is actually coming to meet you, and 400 men are with him. And Jacob was greatly afraid, and he was distressed, and he divided the people that were with him, and the sheep, and the cattle, and the camels into 2 camps. And he thought, Should Esau come to the one camp and strike it, the remaining camp will escape. And Jacob said, Elohim of my father Abraham, and Elohim of my father Isaac, the name who has said to me, Return to your land and your birthplace, and I will deal well with you. I am unworthy of all the kindness that you have steadfastly done for your servant. For with my staff I crossed this Jordan, and now I have become 2 camps. O save me from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he come and strike me, mother with sons. And you yourself said, I will surely deal well with you, and I will set your seed like the sand of the sea, multitudinous beyond all count. And he passed that same night there, and he took from what he had in hand a tribute to Esau his brother, 200 she-goats and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milch camels with their young, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 she-asses and 10 he-asses. And he put them in the hands of his servants, each herd by itself. And he said to his servants, Pass on before me, and put distance between one herd and the next. And he charged the first one, saying, When Esau my brother meets you and asks you, saying, Whose man are you? And where are you going? And whose are these herds before you? You shall say, They are your servant Jacob's, a tribute sent to my lord Esau, and look, he is actually behind us. And he charged the second one as well, and also the third, indeed, all those who went after the herd, saying, In this fashion you shall speak to Esau when you find him, and you shall say, Look, your servant Jacob is actually behind us. For he thought, Let me placate him with the tribute that goes before me, and after I shall look on his face, perhaps he will show me a kindly face. And the tribute passed on before him, and he spent that night in the camp. And he rose on that night, and took his 2 wives, and his 2 slave girls, and his 11 boys, and he crossed over the Jabbok ford. And he took them and brought them across the stream, and he brought across all that he had. And Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the break of dawn. And he saw that he had not won out against him, and he touched his hip socket, and Jacob's hip socket was wrenched as he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for dawn is breaking. And he said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. And he said to him, What is your name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Not Jacob shall your name hence be said, but Israel. For you have striven with God and men and won out. And Jacob asked and said, Tell your name, pray. And he said, Why should you ask my name? And there he blessed him. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, meaning, I have seen Elohim face to face, and I came out alive. And the sun rose upon him as he passed Peniel, and he was limping on his hip. Therefore, the children of Israel do not eat the sinew of the thigh, which is by the hip socket to this day, for he had touched Jacob's hip socket at the sinew of the thigh. And Jacob raised his eyes and saw, and look, Esau was coming, and with him were 400 men. And he divided the children between Leah and Rachel, and between the two slave girls. And he placed the slave girls and their children first, and Leah and her children after them, and Rachel and Joseph last. And he passed before them and bowed to the ground 7 times until he drew near his brother. And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell upon his neck and kissed him, and they wept. And he raised his eyes and saw the women and the children, and he said, Who are these with you? And he said, The children with whom Elohim has favored your servant. And the slave girls drew near, and they and their children, and they bowed down. And Leah too and her children drew near, and they bowed down. And then Joseph and Rachel drew near and bowed down. And he said, What do you mean by all this camp I have met? And he said, To find favor in the eyes of my Lord. And Esau said, I have much, my brother. Keep what you have. And Jacob said, Oh no, pray, if I have found favor in your eyes, take this tribute from my hand. For have I not seen your face, as one might see Elohim's face? And you received me in kindness? Pray, take my blessing that has been brought you, for Elohim has favored me, and I have everything. And he pressed him, and he took it, and he said, Let us journey onward and go, and let me go alongside you. And he said, My Lord knows that the children are tender, and the nursing sheep and cattle are my burden, and if they are whipped onward a single day, all the flocks will die. Pray, let my Lord pass on before his servant, and let me drive along at my own easy pace, at the heels of the livestock before me, and at the heels of the children, till I come to my Lord in Seir. And Esau said, Pray, let me set aside for you some of the people who are with me. And he said, Why should I find such favor in the eyes of my Lord? And Esau returned that day on his way to Seir, while Jacob journeyed on to Succoth. And he built himself a house, and for his cattle he made sheds. Therefore is the name of the place called Succoth. And Jacob came in peace to the town of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padam Aram, and he camped before the town, and he bought the parcel of land where he had pitched his tent from the sons of Hamor, father of Shechem, for 100 kesitas. And he set up an altar there and called it El Elohe Israel. And Dinah, Leah's daughter, whom she had borne to Jacob, went out to go seen among the daughters of the land. And Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the land, saw her and took her and lay with her and abused her. And his very self clung to Dinah, daughter of Jacob, and he loved the young woman, and he spoke to the young woman's heart. And Shechem said to Hamor his father, saying, Take me, this girl, as wife. And Jacob had heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter, and his sons were with his livestock in the field. And Jacob held his peace till they came. And Hamor, Shechem's father, came out to Jacob to speak with him, and Jacob's sons had come in from the field when they heard. And the men were pained, and they were very incensed, for he had done a scurrilous thing in Israel by lying with Jacob's daughter, and as ought not be done. And Hamor spoke with them, saying, Shechem, my son, his very self longs for your daughter. Pray, give her to him as wife, and ally with us by marriage. Your daughters will give to us, and our daughters take for yourselves, and among us you will settle, and the land is before you. Settle and go about it, and take holdings in it. And Shechem said to her father and to her brothers, Let me find favor in your eyes, and whatever you say to me I will give. Name me however much bride price and clan gift. I will give what you say to me, and give me the young woman as wife. And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father deceitfully, and they spoke as they did, because he had defiled Dinah their sister. And they said to them, We cannot do this thing, to give our sister to a man who has a foreskin, as that is a disgrace to us. Only in this way may we agree to you, if you will be like us, every male to be circumcised. Then we can give our daughters to you, and your daughters we can take for ourselves, and we can settle among you and become one folk. But if you will not listen to us to be circumcised, we will take our daughter and go. And their words seemed good in the eyes of Hamor, and in the eyes of Shechem son of Hamor. And the lad lost no time in doing the thing, for he wanted Jacob's daughter, and he was most highly regarded of all his father's house. And Hamor with Shechem his son came to the gate of their town, and they spoke to their townsmen, saying, These men come in peace to us. Let them settle in the land and go about it. For the land, look, is ample before them. Their daughters we shall take us as wives, and our daughters we shall give to them. Only in this way will the men agree to us, to settle with us to be one folk, if every male of us be circumcised, as they are circumcised. Their possessions and livestock and all the cattle, will they not be ours, if only we agree to them, and they settle among us? And all who sallied forth from the gate of his town listened to Hamor and to Shechem his son, and every male was circumcised, all who sallied forth from the gate of his town. And it happened on the third day, while they were herding, that Jacob's two sons, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took each his sword and came upon the city unopposed, and they killed every male. And Hamor and Shechem his son they killed by the edge of the sword. And they took Dinah from the house of Shechem and went out. Jacob's sons came upon the slain and looted the town, for they had defiled their sister. Their sheep and their cattle and their donkeys, what was in the town and in the field they took, and all their wealth, and all their young ones and their wives they took captive, and they looted everything in their houses. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, You have stirred up trouble for me, making me stink among the land's inhabitants, among Canaanites and Perizzites, when I am a handful of men. If they gather against me and strike me, I shall be destroyed, I and my household. And they said, Like a whore should our sister be treated?